Part 52. The max level boss is too cruel. Author, Fire Otter. Chapter 511. Chapter 511. What's the meaning? Chu Tian suddenly raised his head and saw Fen Ling's eyes that were half smiling but not smiling, and a bad premonition arose in his heart. Could it be that Fen Ling is the boss behind them? How is this possible? This is simply impossible, this is simply impossible. Eventually, however, his illusions were shattered. Shang Guan Mo looked at him and said word by word, "Yes, Fen Ling is our boss. She has fired you before, so that's why we haven't asked you to come in. To be honest, your grades are good, but your moral character is too bad. Our National Medical Association does not need a person with very bad moral character. My little ancestor's ability far exceeds yours. What do you think you have the qualifications to come in? If you come in and can replace the little ancestor's position, then maybe we will consider not looking at your character. The real problem is that his character is simply not up to par, so they will not give him any chance to consider it. This is not fair. This is work. What's the problem with your character? Perhaps, you have forgotten my original intention of founding the National Medical Alliance, or maybe," Fen Ling glanced at Chu Tian, "people like you will never see what the junior high school that I founded the National Medical Alliance is about. She wants to give geniuses from all over the world a place to stay. Create a comfortable illusion for them, and in such an environment, there are only materials and people, so everyone's character is very important. Otherwise, how can one say that a piece of mouse droppings can ruin a pot of porridge?" Chu Tian opened his mouth, but finally said nothing. What? It was Song Si who entered, not Chu Tian. What on earth is going on? It shouldn't be, Chu Tian is obviously better. Yes, right. Could it be that someone from Song Si is in it? After the results came out, no matter what they said, Song Si's eyes were cold and unmoved at all. After he knew that Fen Ling was the boss behind the scenes, he also understood in his heart that whoever entered Shushan would not be able to enter, so, Chu Tian's failure to go in was not the fault of anyone but himself. Chu Tian looked at the list, squeezed his hands, and then left. He no longer belongs here, so why are he still here? However, one day, he will definitely tell that woman that not wanting him is the decision she regrets most in her life. Song Si looked at Chu Tian's irritated look without any disturbance in his heart. In fact, he had never regarded Chu Tian as an opponent. It was Chu Tian who insisted on treating him as an opponent that led to the current scene. That will make everyone think that he and Chu Tian have always been competitors. In fact, they are not at all. Song Si sighed, and then left. The wedding had already come out, and there was nothing left to miss here. Isn't it? Song Si, please come to work internally tomorrow with your pass. Fen Ling handed the pass to Song Si with his own hands. Song Si looked at him and said, "These are the things." "Fen Ling, can I ask your mother?" "What?" Fen Ling stopped and branded him. "I want to ask, do you really think this pass I am referring to? Why is it not worth it?" Fen Ling smiled and said, "I never sympathize with others, so I gave him a pass. My passes are very expensive. Normal people can't afford them. Those who can afford them are abnormal people. And you are an abnormal person, so I want to turn you into a normal person. This is called, making a positive out of a negative." At any rate, Fen Ling really felt it. Fen Ling smiled and then left. End of this chapter. The max level boss is too cruel. Author, Fire Otter. Chapter 512. Chapter 512. Lingling, the school will hold a sports meeting soon, do you want to participate? The next day after Fen Ling returned, she was caught by Ning Luoluo who came back from the hospital. Ning Luoluo's relationship with Fang Shuhua has been restored now. Moreover, Ning Luoluo doesn't particularly hate Fang Shuhua. It's just that there was a knot in her heart that has not been resolved before. Now, Feng Ling has helped them resolve it. Therefore, the relationship between the two of them is slowly getting better. Although it is impossible to change all of a sudden, fortunately, I can communicate normally, and nothing offensive will happen during the communication process. So, Ning Luoluo doesn't look much different from the Ning Luoluo before. I won't participate, Feng Ling immediately refused. She had no interest in things like sports meets. I won't participate. Okay, Ning Luoluo lowered her head. She thought the goddess's sports were very good, but now it seems that she is not very good at sports. Otherwise, why wouldn't she participate? This is a good opportunity to shine. By the way, Lingling, our college will have the final exam in a while, are you ready? I know, let's just make do with it, Feng Ling replied. Now our school forum is all about guessing who will get the highest score between you and Feng Shuang, so you must work hard, and you must not let that dog Feng Shuang take the first place. Does anyone else think Feng Shuang can take first place? Feng Ling wonders if these people really don't know that Feng Shuang is only here to graduate. She can't get a certificate from this school at all, but can only get a graduation certificate from Sanjiu's school. However, Feng Ling never had the intention to gossip with others, so she did not discuss Feng Shuang's matter again. It doesn't matter, just guess. This is not just a guess. We made a bet. If we win, the class that supports Feng Shuang will have to clean up for us for 4 years. If we lose, we will have to clean up for others for 4 years. So, Ling, for our future, you have to work hard. Who came up with this idea? Feng Ling glanced at Ning Luoluo and saw her raising her hand in a nonchalant manner. Me. Aren't you going to change your major next year? Feng Ling saw through this little girl's thoughts at a glance. Ning Luoluo laughed twice. Over there, Chen Pingping saw that Ning Luoluo had this idea and rushed forward. Okay, Ning Luoluo, you lied to me, I will beat you to death. Wait a minute, I'm wrong, Pingping, I'm wrong, why don't you just calm down and calm down? The two men fought from inside the dormitory to outside the dormitory. Lin Qinruo sat on the chair and looked at the two little girls with a smile. Tisk, 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 it's great to be young. You are quite young, too. Feng Ling looked at her and said. You are no longer young, Lin Qinruo sighed, then looked at Feng Ling. Can I go out for a walk? Let's go. The two of them walked to the woods. Lin Qinruo stopped and looked at Feng Ling and said, maybe, there is something I have to tell you. What's the matter? Actually, I'm not from this world. I'm surprised. I'm actually a person from 100 years later. It's just that I had an accident, so my soul came here and turned into a little baby. I grew up now, I thought I would never go back, but I didn't expect that someone was looking for me some time ago. Now, I only have half a month left. After half a month, I have to go back, so I would like to ask you to bring a message to Jin Yuding and me. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The max level boss is too cruel. Author, Fire Otter. Chapter 513. Chapter 513. Qinruo, do you have to go back? There's no way, I can't resist this. The real Lin Qinruo is dead long ago. I'm just surviving now. Everything I do for Lin Qinruo is because I regard myself as Lin Qinruo, because I feel that I will live here for the rest of my life. I have almost forgotten the time in my previous life, but I have no idea. This world is so funny, and at this time, I am asked to do it again. Think about it. Lin Qinruo's mood was not high, because she found that she seemed to have fallen in love with Jin Yuding, but this love, was about to end before she had time to experience it. Kinruo, I think, maybe, it's better for you to tell him about this matter yourself. I prefer you to write him a letter. If you really leave by then, I will help you give the letter to Jin Yuding. But you haven't left yet, and you still have half a month to turn the tide, so Kinruo, maybe you can try to see if you can save a little bit. Stay here with Jin Yuding for the rest of your life. Lin Kinruo hesitated. To be honest, she didn't know. She really didn't know. Because she knew very well how powerful the people over there were, she didn't tell Feng Ling her true identity. If it wasn't for that identity, maybe that person wouldn't come to her at all, but she had no choice. Those people would not be able to give up if they did not take her back. I'll give it a try. Don't forget you and all of us. After Feng Ling comforted Lin Kinruo for a while, she took Lin Kinruo back to the dormitory and called Ye King Han. Ye King Han, let's meet, I'm a little things want to come to you. Well, okay, I'll go find you, Ye King Han said, putting down what he was doing. Feng Ling nodded. Then the two met at the school gate. Let's talk in the car, Feng Ling said. Let's go. Here's your ice cream. Ye King Han bought an ice cream for Feng Ling on the roadside. The little girl liked ice cream the most. Feng Ling squinted her eyes, took the ice cream and ate it with satisfaction. Written. In the car, Feng Ling told Lin Kinruo's story, then looked at Ye King Han and said, I was wondering if our system could help. I asked Zero Rail, and Zero Rail told me that it might be necessary. Discuss this with your system. Well, okay, let me ask. As more and more spiritual energy is absorbed in this world, the two systems can already appear in the passing state. For example, this time. I think maybe it's not completely impossible. Zero Rail touched his chin and said. Any solution? They should have found Lin Kinruo through the soul, but if the soul itself is not pure, then maybe they will not be able to find Lin Kinruo. Every soul has its own characteristics. As long as a little bit of something else is blended into the soul thing, then this soul will become another person. You mean, soul fusion? Feng Ling asked. Lingui nodded. Yes, that's why I said to find Yi, because my ability alone is not enough now, I must have Yi. Another point is that two people who perform soul dual fusion must trust each other. During the fusion process, if one party has any distracting thoughts or distrust, then the soul fusion will completely fail. Perhaps, it would be better to let Lin Kinruo and Jin Yuding merge their souls. Well, but I still need to ask their opinion. End of this chapter. The max level boss is too cruel. Author, Fire Otter. Chapter 514. Chapter 514. After the two people discussed it, they told Lin Kinruo and Jin Yuding. What shocked Lin Kinruo herself was that she didn't think about it carefully, but Jin Yuding agreed immediately. I think there's no problem, Kinruo. If you're ready, I can start at any time. Jin Yuding is still the same Jin Yuding, who does things calmly, but now, this kind of Jin Yuding makes Lin Kinruo feel very at ease. Jin Yuding, I have something to tell you. Farewell to Feng Ling and Ye King Han. Lin Kinruo stopped Jin Yuding. Jin Yuding glanced at Lin Kinruo, then stopped. What's the matter? I want to ask, did you really agree? If one of us is a little distracted, we might. It's really going to die. She knew the consequences of doing so. So, she has been hesitating, but why did Jin Yuding agree like this? He is not. I said that you can only be mine in this life, so I must keep you. But Jin Yuding, we will die. I won't allow you to let me die. If you die, I will torture you in the underworld. Jin Yuding's eyes were very cold. Lin Kinruo even thought that Jin Yuding like this would really like her mother. However, her intuition told her that he was actually the same as her, and they liked each other. Jin Yuding, I won't let you go to the underworld. I owe you once, and I will never owe you a second time. This is not my character, Lincoln Ruo, so just wait for me, and I will definitely do it. May you be in peace. Lincoln Ruo called Fen Ling and said, Ling Ling, I agreed. Let's start tomorrow. Well, okay, Fen Ling smiled, then glanced at Ye King Han next to her. I agreed, so what can I say? Okay, you win. Ye King Han pinched Fen Ling's nose lovingly, and then said, go to my company. Fen Ling nodded. Ye King Han took Fen Ling to the company. This was also the first time Ye King Han took Fen Ling to his company. When Fen Ling came to Yes Group, she blinked after class and said, Ye King Han, I didn't expect that your company is quite cool. Not as cool as your National Medical Alliance. Ye King Han said with a smile. Fen Ling curled her lips, you know. You are my wife, so I must care about your every move in case you smile. I don't know how, I'm very powerful. Fen Ling curled her lips, but she didn't resent Ye King Han's doing this, because Fen Ling felt a little cautious, and she really worked. So, there is no way, it is offset. Shui Xianro saw Ye King Han bring Fen Ling in, but she didn't react much because everyone said that Ye King Han didn't like his wife, so he never brought her here. I brought it here today, probably because I have something to do. Shui Xianro didn't take Fen Ling seriously. Everyone saw Fen Ling's arrival, and all of a sudden, the entire company was spreading the word about Fen Ling's mission. Hey, 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 do you see it? What is it? Fen Ling, she's our boss's wife. Oh my god, have you seen her beauty? I took it with my phone and showed it to you. She's absolutely stunning. Damn it, how can the CEO stay calm with such a girl by his side? Ox. Everyone looked at Fen Ling's photo and felt very surprised. Fen Ling and Ye King Han walked to the president's office, which was exactly the same as Ye King Han's own style. End of this chapter. The max level boss is too cruel. Author, Fire Otter. Chapter 515. Chapter 515. It's very cool, with black and white as the main tone. I have to say, she quite likes it. I have a meeting later, you can rest here for a while. Can the computer be used? Fen Ling suddenly remembered that there was a task that had not been completed recently. It's up to you. Ye King Han rubbed the girl's head, and then the documents went out. Fen Ling raised her eyebrows, and then opened Ye King Han's computer. Well, it was true that the screen of Ye King Han's computer had not changed the screensaver. It was just the same as before. Fen Ling searched for a cute cat online and put it on Ye King Han's computer screen, and then she opened the darknet with satisfaction. On the dark web, someone saw Fen Ling surfing the internet and jumped out immediately. Little ancestor, you finally remember the villain. Can you help solve the villain's problem this time? Yes, okay. Fen Ling saw that he was quite honest and did not embarrass him. Thank you, this is the address. The person threw a link to her, and when Fen Ling clicked on it, it was a garbled code. Her current task was to crack the garbled code and enter the other party's system to get the files. At the critical moment, I suddenly remembered the sound of the door opening, and a woman wearing a light blue dress walked in. Fen Ling glanced at it. He was probably an employee of this company, and then he continued to lower his head and crack the code. Shui Xianro instantly became angry when she saw that Fen Ling had no intention of paying attention to her. She frowned, walked to Fen Ling, took a look, and found that Fen Ling was actually using Ye King Han's computer. This is Ye King Han's place. Ye King Han's habits are all well known to them. He doesn't like anyone to steal his things. However, this woman actually took advantage of Ye King Han's absence to touch his computer. This lady. Shui Xianro nodded on the table. Fen Ling raised her head and glanced. What's the matter? She is now at the critical moment of cracking the garbled code. She is only 2 steps away from cracking the garbled code. However, the arrival of Shui Xianro has seriously disrupted her speed, so Fen Ling is not in a good mood now. That's right, this is the president's computer, so please don't touch it, please. Shui Xianro said, ready to close the computer. Don't move. Fenling blocked Shui Xianro with one hand, and continued to crack it with the other hand, but the speed slowed down obviously. The other side saw that the cracking speed was slow and sent 2 question marks. What's wrong, little ancestor, did something happen to you? I encountered a brainless person and I need to solve it. Fenling sent a line of text and continued to decipher. The progress just cracked has gone back to 10%. Fenling sighed, then glanced at Shui Xianro. Can you sit somewhere for 5 minutes? You are affecting my work. At this time, she should have cracked it. Work, this is the president's computer. What are you using to work on the president's computer? Don't lose the files in the president's computer. Shui Xianro has no intention of talking to Fenling and will continue to go her own way. Fenling frowned, looking at the progress bar getting slower and slower, and finally couldn't help it anymore. It was you who provoked me. She never had a good temper. The next second, Shui Xianro felt a loud sound in her bones, and then they broke. Ah! Shui Xianro felt that her hand was in severe pain. She sat on the ground holding her hand and screamed. Fenling shook her head helplessly and continued to deal with her garbled code. 3 minutes later, Fenling finished processing, and then he had the intention to look at Shui Xianro. Who are you? Just wait for me, the president will definitely not let you go. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The max level boss is too cruel. Author, Fire Otter. Chapter 516. Chapter 516. Shui Xianro rubbed her hands, tears of pain had already come out. Fenling showed no expression at all, she squatted down calmly. What are you going to do? Shui Xianro looked at Fenling in horror. Fenling said, nothing to do. Then he squeezed Shui's delicate hand and restored her health directly. The process only takes 2 seconds. Shui Xianro only felt a sharp pain, accompanied by the sound of bones rubbing together, and then her hand miraculously healed. However, now she was so overwhelmed by anger that she didn't think about it at all. Just wait for me, and I will definitely ask the president to sanction you. What you said is funny. He is my man, and everything he owns belongs to me. But it is you who hinders other people's work for no reason. Who do you think should be sanctioned? Oh, the president doesn't like you at all. Besides, the president is misophobic and doesn't like anyone to touch his things, let alone you, a woman. You are really shameless. Oh? Ye King Han doesn't like me, does he like you? Fenling could almost tell it now, but she didn't think much of it because it was really. I have never been to this place, so I don't know that Ye King Han's company is also eyeing her. It's not your turn to ask about the matter between me and the CEO. Shui Xianro looked at Fenling coldly, then took her things and left. Fenling looked at the direction she was walking in. It should be Ye King Han's conference room. She lowered her head and realized that Shui Xianro should have wanted to take the documents on the table just now, but she was probably fainted from anger, so she didn't take them. After all, it was what Ye King Han wanted, so it would be better for her to send it to him. Fenling thought, picked it up and walked towards the conference room. Water supervisor, why did it take you so long? I'm sorry, CEO, is this, Shui Xianro looked down at the document she suspected, but found that she didn't seem to have it at all. You missed this thing at this time, an annoying voice came from behind Shui Xianro. Shui Xianro looked back and found that it was Fenling. The senior management of the company were very surprised. A little girl came into the conference room. Moreover, judging from the appearance of this little girl, she must not be in her 20s. How did you come to the company? Ling Ling Yekinghan was a little surprised. Then he nodded at the chair next to him and said, "Sit down when you're here." Feng Ling didn't think there was anything wrong, so she sat down and gave the document to Yekinghan. "I just took a look at it. Are you preparing for the tender in a week?" She was bored waiting for the elevator on the way, so she took a look at the contents of the document. This. Everyone, look at me and I at you. Can the CEO's documents be read casually? This is not appropriate. Ms. Feng Ling, please don't look at the president's things casually in the future. These are confidential documents. If they are spread out, it will be detrimental to you. What do you think? Shui Xianro looked at Feng Ling and said. Feng Ling nodded, that makes sense, but even if word spreads, it won't be me. The girl smiled sweetly, but what she said made people unexpectedly angry. Yekinghan and I are one. As long as he is good, I will be good. Why, do you still hope that I am not good? There seems to be nothing wrong with what you said. Everyone looked at Yekinghan and found that the president did not seem angry. Everyone jumped over as a matter of course. Okay, let's continue the meeting, Yekinghan said. He took Feng Ling's document and opened it. It was all in French. Yekinghan glanced at Feng Ling and said, "It's pretty awesome." End of this chapter. The max level boss is too cruel. Author, Fire Otter. Chapter 517. Chapter 517. Not as powerful as you. Feng Ling glanced at Yekinghan and said. The two people were whispering, and Shui Xianro crushed the palms of her hands under the table, feeling like her flesh was about to be broken. This actually kissed Yekinghan on such an occasion. Don't you see that they are discussing something very serious now? So where are you discussing now? Feng Ling asked. Her soft and waxy voice seemed to stand out. Everyone will subconsciously focus on Feng Ling. We are discussing whether the land in the north or the south is more worthy of our investment. Yekinghan said. It seemed that he had no intention of hiding it from Feng Ling, and everyone found out. This kind of discovery made everyone feel that the rumors about the CEO and his wife were not true, because now it seemed that the two men were very talented and beautiful, and they seemed to get along very well. At least, the CEO did not particularly dislike his wife. I think this land in the north is more worthy of investment. Feng Ling blinked and said. Miss Feng, I'm afraid you don't quite understand that express delivery in the north has bad feng shui, so it's not suitable for building houses, but it's different in the south. Economic development is about to be prepared, and after economic development, the land prices will definitely rise, so we still have to invest in the south. However, Miss Feng is still a child, so it is quite normal not to understand these things. Shui Xianro said. This time, she could finally hold her head high and feel proud. She looked at Feng Ling, as if to say, in this situation, you still have to listen to their professionals. Why? However, to everyone's surprise, the president did not seem to think that his little wife was joking, and instead asked her why. Shui Xianro was about to be shocked. What on earth is going on with the CEO? Didn't she say enough? Why do you have to ask a child who doesn't understand anything? However, Shui Xianro then thought that the CEO must be planning to embarrass Feng Ling because he particularly disliked Feng Ling. Think about it this way. Shui Xianro felt at ease again. She looked at Feng Ling, ready to wait for her to make a fool of herself. Although the land in the south is indeed very good, she has a particularly bad rumor that this place has been haunted. But it's understandable that you don't know now. After all, the rumors of this haunting were more than 10 years ago. However, if this place is really an economic development zone in the future, then the housing prices will definitely not be affordable for ordinary people. However, people who want to invest in houses will definitely inquire about the feng shui of this place thoroughly. By then, if you accidentally discover that this place has been haunted by ghosts, then even the best feng shui will be of no use. After all, Everyone still cares about this thing. Feng Ling said, and then added, this area in the north is indeed not suitable for the development of houses, but its topography is particularly suitable for the development of scenic tourist areas. Also, I think this place might have a hot spring, and if so, it would be another spot. Perhaps you can really take a risky move. Feng Ling touched his chin and said. Has it been haunted? Yeking Han squinted his eyes and looked at the people below. Didn't you find out? If this kind of thing is discovered in the future, it will be irreparable, and absolute losses will be incurred when the time comes. I'm sorry, President, maybe we didn't check clearly. Let's go back and check again. The person who investigated the rough door touched the sweat on his forehead. It was haunted more than 10 years ago. End of this chapter. The max level boss is too cruel. Author, Fire Otter. Chapter 518. Chapter 518. This time is really long. Yet probably because of Feng Ling's presence, Yeking Han didn't say much. The people in the investigation department thought that Yeking Han was going to punish them next moment, but there was no sign of punishment at all. No. They subconsciously looked at Feng Ling. They didn't know why, but they always felt that the CEO didn't punish them because the little girl was here. Shui Xianro thought the same as them, but she was unwilling to admit it. This meeting ends here. After you finish the investigation, give me the results and bring them over before get off work today. Yeking Han paused, then we'll have an overtime meeting. Everyone, the president is indeed a president. Nightclub. Just when everyone was about to leave, Shui Xianro suddenly stopped Yeking Han and said, just now when I went to your office to get the files, she was using your computer. I know that they should be saved in your computer. If you lose many important documents, the consequences will be disastrous, so you'd better check them when you go back. If they are really lost, we can find them back as soon as possible. I let her use the computer. Everything here is not only mine, but also hers. Yeking Han then continued to look at Shui Xianro and asked, any more questions? No, no more. Shui Xianro's face was already extremely red. Yeking Han, in front of so many people, didn't give her any face. She had never thought that Yeking Han could be so unkind. In the past, they all said that Yeking Han was a cold and sober person, but she didn't believe it because he had seen his unknown side, so he knew Yeking Han's character. But now, it's okay if you don't have it. Yeking Han seemed to have really not noticed Shui Xianro's emotions and said lightly, then pulled Feng Ling away. Shui Xianro looked at Yeking Han from behind, biting her lip. Yeking Han, why? Why, I am obviously so good to you, so good, why don't you believe me? Why do you want to like someone who is not worthy of you at all? The person I like. Yeking Han, I like you. I like you so much, I can't wait to give you all the best. Why are you unwilling to accept it? Why do you have to bring a worthless woman in front of me to confront me? Why? Okay, stop complaining here. You can't afford to offend the person Yeking Han likes. See? He is doting on him. At this time, you have no way to get in. It's up to you. Shui Xianro looked at the approaching woman coldly. This woman's name is Fu, and she is in the same department as her, but Shui Xianro belongs to Yeking Han, while Fu belongs to the elder of the Ye family. Haha, Shui Xianro, if you are so stupid, I won't bother to teach you. However, you can only watch Feng Ling and Yeking Han grow old together. Shui Xianro's eyes flashed, why are you together? You mean, you have a way? The woman curled her lips, then said with her slender chin, follow me. Shui Xianro didn't know what happened, so she immediately followed her. Two people came to a small hint. Here seems to be this woman's secret base. What did you bring me here for? Let me show you something. The woman smiled. Inexplicably, Shui Xianro felt that this woman's smile was particularly sinister. What is it? Shui Xianro was alert. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The max level boss is too cruel. Author, Fire Otter. Chapter 519. Chapter 519. Nothing, I just want to show you something. Fui glanced at Shui Xianro, and then, the next second, Shui Xianro found that she had entered a whole new world. In this world, she is a bystander, while the other girl. This girl is Fenling in the past, but she has forgotten this part of the story. I can show you her past. Fui showed Shui Xianro a piece of Fenling's past. When Shui Xianro woke up again, it turned out that Fui was looking at her. Her eyes were extremely dark, like a black hole. Fragrant. Shui Xianro now feels that Fui is a particularly terrifying woman. Because, she knew that all the things that fragrance gave her were real, but just because this thing was real, that's why. Shui Xianro pursed her lips and said, I need to calm down. Of course you can calm down yourself, Fui said. She said by saying, when you calm down, you can tell me whether you are willing to cooperate with me. You know, if Fenling is here in the world for a day, then you will never be Yeking Han's real girlfriend. You know very well how capable Fenling is. I believe that from what you just watched, you also know that Fenling has a system. It is because of this system that Fenling is so unscrupulous when she stands and feels that she is the world's best. First, you will be able to survive anything. So, what you need to do is replace her with the fake system I gave you. One day, when your true system develops, you can become Fenling. You know, isn't it the skin that men love, so you know exactly what you should do, right? That day, Shui Xianro was lying on the bed alone. At that time, she was still a 10-year-old child. She was chased by Zhou Man and chased into a small village. She had no way to escape. At that time, please treat her well if he encountered her. She was like a god, suddenly the bonus was by her side, and then he went to protect her. Therefore, Shui Xianro fell in love with Yeking Han, and her love was out of control. Everyone tried to persuade her to calm down, saying that her love for the Lord was not true love. However, as she thought about it, she found that she was getting more and more confused. The more intuitive it is, the colder the night becomes. If Yeking Han marries someone else, she will really go crazy. Therefore, from that time, she had made up her mind to become Yeking Han's woman, so she began to try to stay by Yeking Han's side. At the beginning, she could only run a few meters away from Yeking Han. But now, she can already stay within 1 meter of Yeking Han. This is progress. She believed that she could make more progress, so she was ready to continue working hard. At this critical moment, Yeking Han suddenly released the news that she was with Fenling. How could Shui Xianro accept this? Later, everyone said that Yeking Han married Fenling because of her grandfather's pressure. She also knew that Yeking Han's grandfather was a very stubborn old man. Therefore, at this age of 15, Shui Xianro felt a lot more relieved. However, some time ago, she just saw the address of Yeking Han's love for Fenling. Actually, she really wanted to deceive herself. Yes, she had already deceived herself. However, she found that she could not deceive herself at all. How to cheat? Fenling and Yeking Han have very high feelings. Some people should cherish such feelings, because she doesn't even have the possibility of having them. But this Fenling has nothing but a skin. So, she was not convinced at all, not at all. End of this chapter. The max level boss is too cruel. Author, Fire Otter. Chapter 520. Chapter 520. Fenling had been playing games all afternoon. At least the few times Shui Xianro came into the office, she saw Fen Ling playing games. She couldn't figure out why Fen Ling had so many games to play, not to mention that Fen Ling, as a Ye King Han's wife, why can't she have a little bit of ambition, even a little bit of ambition? How can she be worthy of becoming Ye King Han's wife if she doesn't have such ambition? The more Shui Xianro looked at it, the more she felt that Fen Ling was not worthy of being Ye King Han's wife. She stared at the scenery and said, "Since Miss Feng is so boring, why don't I take Miss Feng Ling out for a walk? CEO, what do you think? I think our company is quite good at treating people who come here for the first time." Ling Ling, Ye King Han did not answer immediately. Instead, he asked Feng Ling what he meant. Shui Xianro pinched the flesh in her palm. He stared at Feng Ling, fearing that she would disagree. Finally, after Feng Ling nodded and stood up, he breathed a sigh of relief. "What do you want from me?" After Feng Ling went out, he came directly to ask. Shui Xianro gritted her teeth, "When can you leave Ye King Han? I can satisfy you no matter how much it costs." "Why should I leave Ye King Han? What you gave me, Ye King Han can also give to me, right? What's more, what Ye King Han can give me, I can also give to myself. Why do you think you have that? Can you buy me away from Ye King Han? Just, how should I put it, I can only say that I feel that this little girl is quite stupid. I like Ye King Han, that's why I'm good to Ye King Han. Why do you always want to take away the man next to me, why?" Shui Xianro couldn't understand, because since she stayed with Ye King Han, she had been following Ye King Han and had no contact with the outside world. It can only be said that Shui Xianro was too simple, while Feng Ling was just indifferent. He glanced at her and said, "Emotions are not commodities, and there is no priority. What's more, in terms of first come, last served, I should meet Ye King Han first." "Impossible." Shui Xianro thought of something and said, "It's obviously me. I'm the one who looked at the Lord first." Seeing Shui Xianro being so excited, Feng Ling sighed and said, okay, I really don't want to argue with you. This matter can't be explained clearly in a few words. I can only tell you that I want to. It is impossible to take me away from Ye King Han, and it is impossible to take Ye King Han away from me, so, do you understand?" "Understand what? I don't understand anything." Shui Xianro screamed. Feng Ling rubbed her ears and said, "I've already said no more to you, so I can only say more. Shui Xianro, I like Ye King Han, and Ye King Han also likes me, our feelings are mutual. Perhaps, I can also tell you that my relationship with Ye King Han has long gone beyond liking. We love each other. What you said, why my ability cannot match Ye King Han, I think, there is something in my dream. How much should you will have to tell you, what do you think?" "You." Shui Xianro gritted her teeth and looked at Feng Ling fiercely. "Feng Ling, just wait for me, I will never let you go. We don't have any feud, but I also want to tell you that if you really decide to go against me, I won't be able to let you go. After all, I am not someone who likes to let others go, you know." Feng Ling curled her lips and then left. Shui Xianro looked at Feng Ling's leaving figure and said, "Feng Ling, one day, I will let you die without a burial place." End of this chapter.